Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. If you're not, welcome back. So today we're gonna do a story time, one of my dating stories or dating experiences, whatever, we all have these. So let's get into this one. This situation is still, no, we're not gonna go there. This situation, this guy I was kind of talking to, and we actually work together at the bar that I do hookah at, and I always just thought he was nice, and I'm kind of friendly with everyone, and I talk a lot. If you know me personally, I'm very chatty. Yeah, I ramble a lot, especially if I'm drinking and yeah. So this is back in the beginning, when I kind of started working there, and I just thought, I thought he was semi-attractive or whatever, and cute. And I'm just thinking I kind of just chat with everyone, whatever. And a few months go by, and it's funny because one of my friends was always like, he likes you, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I was like, if he liked me, I feel like he would have asked me for my number, or at least my Instagram or something, And I was like, no, I don't think that's true. So she kept saying it. Another friend of ours had kind of mentioned it to me, and I'm like, bro, no, he doesn't. He's like, yes, he does, and da-da-da-da, and all of this. So I thought it was interesting. So finally, one night she tells me again, and I'm like, bro, we've already discussed this. There's no way he does not like me like that. We're just friends, whatever. And she's like, no, he literally told me this just now, a few minutes ago. So she's like, I told you so, I was right. And I'm like, okay, what? And I'm just kind of shocked, And so then I literally, he comes over, and he's like, so now you know. And I was like, well, you never said anything, so how was I just supposed to assume that you liked me or whatever? So we do exchange numbers, and we just kind of text sometimes, and then we would FaceTime a couple times a week. He would he'd be at work while he'd FaceTime me and just be chatting and whatnot. And sometimes he would FaceTime me when I was at work, and I would step out of my office to chat for a few minutes, and then I would just see him every weekend when we work. So nothing ever really became of that. We never hung out outside of work. Well, one time we did, but we had he had come over to my friend's house, and I was already there, and we had made this jungle juice, if you call it that, the drink that has all the gummies and stuff in it. You put all the it's not jungle juice, but it's watermelon punch or whatever. We did all of those juices, and then we put in Sour Patch Kids and gummy worms and what other candy, watermelon, pineapple, all of that. We put fruit and stuff in it, and kind of did, and the guys were cooking and whatnot. We were all just kind of hanging out, and then I had gone home. And one night, it was crazy because one night when I had been drinking, I had almost gone home with him, and I was like, I'm really hungry, I need food first. And then, I don't know, I just had I don't know, not a weird feeling, but I don't know, I just think I started to sober up and was like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go home. I have food at home, I'm just gonna go home. And he was a little annoyed with me after that, but it was a late night. We had just worked. It was 3 a.m. And that's our thing. Our bars don't close to 2:30. By the time we get everybody out, it's at least 3. And everyone's out, and we gotta clean up and all that stuff. So it was late. So one night, I was definitely drinking a little bit too much. And earlier in the night, I was like, yeah, I'll come over da 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 da. And he was like, yeah, you should. He's like, I've been asking you to, and you always tell me no. I'm like, yeah, I will tonight. Like, it's fine. Like, I will. And then I started to sober up a little bit, and then was like, no, this isn't a good idea. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home. So he seemed annoyed with that. Like, we didn't talk for a few days. I'm just like, whatever. Like, things happen. I feel like I've been patting my face for like ever. Okay. So yeah, and that happens. Where's the, okay, here we go. So I'm just like, okay. We talk a little bit more, and you know, we're just like, he's like, you know, one of these days you're gonna invite me over. He's like, why don't you invite me over tonight? And I'm like, no, like I had planned. Or I'd just be like, no, I don't want you to come over. Like, you know, I don't know. It, like, nothing ever really came of like that one night I changed my mind and decided not to go over there. And he'd mentioned like hanging out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no, like, it wasn't really, I don't know. Like, I would like flirting with him at work, and it was fun and all, but I don't know. I just never could fully like really take him seriously enough to like go over to his place. Like, he would invite me all the time, and I'd just be like, no. Or he would try to like invite himself over to my place, and I'd just be like, okay, no. Plus, I'm like weird with people being in my space, because I feel like some people will legit like overstay their welcome, and that's happened to me several times. Like, I don't know if this happens to like anybody else, but it definitely happens to me. And I'll just be sitting here like it's awkward. It's like, how do you like, you nicely kick someone out? You really can't. So that's why it's like, I don't like anyone being in like my space. So I definitely was like, no, you're definitely not coming over to my place. No. So yeah. And so then, what is going on? Okay. Someone got into it. Probably fighting over a pregnant face, who knows? So yeah, I'm just like, okay, interesting. Anyways, so it's, you know, going, you know, back and forth with just like chatting and him bringing it up, and I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, like, I was like, I'll let you know when I'm like ready to, or when I change my mind or whatever. And he's just like, you know, he's like, that means it's never gonna happen. I was just like, no, it just means I just haven't like made up my mind, or like, you know, quite decided. Like, it is what it is, you know? So, I'm just like, you know, I'll let you know I'm ready, whatever. So he would walk me to my car, and would be like, you know, sweet, walking to my car, make sure I got there safely. And then once or twice out of those times that he would walk me to my car, like, we kissed, and that was it. And then I would go home, and then he would go home, you know, and that's like pretty much it. Like, nothing else really like became of that. And it was interesting. Of course, I do not have my lipstick or the blush I needed. BRB. Okay, so yeah, so finally, kind of like, you know, this goes on for like a month or so of me like knowing that he's interested once we finally like talked about it, you know, and he's always trying to got me to try to go over there, and I've just been kind of like, no, you know, except for that one night I almost did. So, you know, still text here and there, things like that. Just, you know, talking, like, not dating, nothing like that. So I sent him a video, right? Sent him a video, and then this was like a Saturday, and then the next day was Sunday. I had FaceTimed him like earlier in the day, and then I had gone to work, and he only works Fridays. I work Hookah Friday through Sunday. So I had seen him that Friday, and then we had kind of like talked FaceTime earlier in the day. I work, and then I get home, it's around like 3:30. I had taken a shower, and then, you know, had gotten into bed and was watching whatever I was watching. I like to fall asleep to a TV on sometimes. So I do that, And I get a FaceTime call, and here we go. Okay, I get a FaceTime call. It's 4:30 in the morning, and I'm like, why? Why is he calling me so late? Like, it's 4:30 in the morning. What is going on? So I answer, and I don't quite put it like on my face because it woke me up out of my sleep. And so I just kind of had the phone there. I'm like, hey, why are you awake? Like, it's late. Like, it's 4:30. And it's a woman's voice, and she's like, who is this? And I'm like, what? Meanwhile, this woke me up out of my sleep. I'm like groggy. I'm like confused for a second. I'm like, what? And I'm like, who is this? Like, you're calling me. And she's like, I'm so-and-so's girlfriend. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, this is weird. I'm gonna go. And I just like hung up, kind of like in shock. And the fact that I'm like sleepy surprised me out of my sleep. I'm like, what is going on? It was so crazy. And so I hang up, and then calls right back. And I'm like, oh, it's got to be her on his phone. So I just don't answer. I just decline it. And then I call one of my friends, and as I'm like calling her, she's like, hey, I'm like, I'm out still, because I like to go to like after hour spots, like after we work sometimes. She's like, I'm out still. What's going on? And she like saw my face, and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? She steps outside where she can actually hear me. And I'm like, dude, and I'm like explaining to her like what happened. I keep getting FaceTime call after FaceTime call from him that I know it's really her. And so I'm telling her what's going on. She's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. She's like, if I were you, like, just don't answer. Like, just try to go get some sleep. She's like, just try to like calm down. She's like, that's just really weird that like it seems as if he has a girlfriend and then didn't tell you anything. I was like, it's weird. Like, I don't know why he's even trying to talk to you and do this and that if he has somebody. She's just like, just don't say anything else. And then we get off, because I had FaceTime with her. We get off the phone, and it's like at this point, it's probably like 5 o'clock, and just steady like keeps FaceTiming, and I don't answer. And then finally I answer again to be like, dude, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, leave me alone. And it's not her, it's him. And he's like, what is going on? I'm like, what do you mean? What is going on? Me? Like, what's going on with you? I'm like, bro, like, this girl's on your phone, and she's telling me that she's like your girlfriend, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. She's been like FaceTiming me. And I was like, the first time I thought it was you. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, this is weird. And he was just like, oh, this is someone that I've been like seeing. I didn't realize that she felt like we were so serious, and like, just trying to like downplay it and whatnot. And I'm just like, this is like, it's strange. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I was like, he's like explaining to me, he's like, yeah, I heard her get up, and then she went outside or something, and then I kept getting like calls on my phone of my apartment building telling me that someone's at the door or whatever. So I guess he's like telling me all this shit, and now I'm like, probably bullshit anyway, like now that I think about it later on. And it's just like so weird, because he never mentioned anything to me about having a girlfriend. He just downplayed and was like, oh, this is just somebody I've been seeing, it's not serious or whatever. She thought we were more serious than that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go by. And he just like hangs up, and I hang up, Then at 7:30 again, I get another call, FaceTime call from him. So I usually get up around 8 o'clock to start getting ready for work, because I had to be to work at 9. So 7:30, I answer. I'm like, hello? And it's this time, it's both of them sitting there. And he's like, why'd you send me that video yesterday? And then she's like, yeah, why would you send him that video yesterday? Like, both full of attitude. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not doing this. And I hung up. And at this point, I'm like seething. I'm like, you motherfuckers, like, they woke me up early. Woke me up 30 minutes early, like, and already didn't sleep very well, because I'm just like, what the hell is going on? It was like freaking me out. I'm like, this is weird. This kind of situation has like not really happened to me before, like FaceTime and you think it's going to be someone and it's completely somebody else. It was just weird. Sorry, I'm like waving my lashes because I'm going to put them on. But just craziness. So I hang up, I go about my work day. It's like throwing me off. It's weird. Oh, and then like right after I hung up the FaceTime, I texted, I was like, lose my fucking number. And he doesn't say anything else. Neither do I. Leave it at that. Then Wednesday comes around and he texts me. He's like, hey, it's me. I'm by myself. It's just me. I just want to talk to you. And he FaceTimes me. I don't answer it. And then he calls a few minutes later. I'm like driving to work. I'm like, what do you want? Like, what? And he's like, you know, she kind of like, I felt like I was backed into a corner. And he's like, I'm sorry that, you know, like we both kind of like FaceTimed you like that. And I was like, yeah, I kind of felt like attacked. It was weird because you made it out to seem like not a big deal. Like this girl like got into your phone or something when clearly like there's more to it than that. And then you tried to make it seem like it was all one-sided. Like I was doing all of this and you were like the innocent guy. Like I was preying on you or whatever. It was just really annoying because I just felt like he was trying to make me feel like I was crazy. And I'm just sitting here like, you're the one who came out and said you liked me and we're trying to do this, and that, and the third, and whatever. So just craziness, right? Putting on a lash. Don't judge me, y'all. I do not use tweezers. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this off camera because this is terrible. Okay, did my lashes off camera, like the glue is dry. You can see it a little bit, but don't worry, it'll be fine. So yeah, super like just trying to explain himself, over explaining and whatever. He's like, I just don't want things to be like awkward at work. I want to try to make things work with her. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I was like you should just mention something. That's kind of like weird. I don't know. The thing was just like, it was weird. Like you pursued me and you have a girlfriend. It's just like, I just didn't understand. I don't understand why guys do that. So it's Wednesday, right? This is the week of my birthday. My birthday is on a Saturday. And I take the night off from doing the hookah. So it's Friday. Fast forward to Friday, 2 days after we talked. And I decide I'm going to be off from hookah, but I'll still go to the place I work at just to celebrate my birthday and have a good time and just like relax. So I go, I'm wearing heels and a dress, not my usual hookah outfit, you know, and I'm drinking at this point. I'm like tipsy, like leaning a little more towards like drunk. And my friends, you know, we're hanging out, we're chilling. No one's really ordered a hookah. So a table orders a hookah. And my work wifey, she goes over there and she delivers it. And I'm like talking with the other friend at the table. And she is like, hey, there's a table over there. This girl, she wants to talk to you. And I'm like, who does? She's like, the table I just brought a hookah to. I was like, there's something wrong with her hookah? She's like, I don't know. I don't think so. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll go check on it even though I'm not working. So I go over there. I'm like, hey, is there something wrong with your hookah? Like, is everything good? And she's like, yeah, no, everything's fine. She's like, I just wanted to talk with you. And I'm like, okay, about what? She's like, can we step over here? And so mind you, I'm tipsy, I'm drunk. I still don't know what's going on. So we step over like near towards the stage and she's like, so I'm so-and-so's girlfriend. And I'm sitting here like, oh, fuck. Like, drunk me is like, what? I'm like, hi. And it's awkward because this girl showed up at my place of work. Like, to basically confront me and ask me all of these questions. And I'm literally just like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, I just wanted to like talk to you more because I feel like he's not being completely honest with me, blah, blah, blah. And is like explaining herself. And she's like, I just want to know. She's like, and I'm not upset with you or anything like that. And she's like, don't worry. The video you sent him, I didn't send it to myself or do anything with it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, I hope not. Revenge porn is illegal and you would go to jail. So that's what I'm thinking like in my head. I don't think I said it out loud. Mind you, I'm kind of drunk, so I don't remember all the exact details. So she's like, what made you comfortable enough to send him that? And I was like, because we've been like talking and everything. And so it's just like super awkward for me, and yeah. Okay, so it's awkward because I'm drinking and she's just like asking me questions and things like that. And so I'm just like, yeah, like nothing, we've never slept or anything like that. We've just kissed once or twice. He's nice and he'll like walk me to my car, and we kissed once or twice, and that was it. And she's like, what? And she's like looking at me, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, he didn't tell you that? And she was like, no. And so I'm like, yeah, that's it. We kissed once or twice. We've never slept together. That's it. Like, it's not that deep, you know? And she's just like, well, I just want to know why you were comfortable enough to send him the video. And I was just like, we've been talking. And, you know, of course, I don't mention the fact that, you know, he's been like trying to invite himself over to my place and trying to get me to come over there and trying to get me to sleep with him. And also mentioning to my friends that he likes me and wants to sleep with me, this and that. And just other details he shared with me. I don't divulge all of that. And I feel like if I was sober, I probably wouldn't. Honestly, if I was sober, I probably wouldn't have admitted to anything. And just, I don't know. Like, I just feel like the conversation would have gone differently if I had not been drinking at all. So, so of course, he's not honest and doesn't tell her the whole truth. So she's over here thinking nothing's happened. And I'm like, yeah, we've kissed once or twice. And she's seen my boobs, so it's awkward. And she's like, don't worry, I haven't done anything with the video. And I'm just like, well, I hope not. In my mind, it's like, that's illegal. You can't do that anyway. You'd get, like, you go to jail. So, yeah, it's just super awkward. And meanwhile, I keep looking over at my work wife and my friend, and they're just staring at me. And obviously, at this point, I'm like, I think they figured out who this girl is. And so they're just, like, ready. And so the conversation ends. I walk away. I go back over there. And they're like, oh my God, bitch. They were just over there like, I'm just like kind of in shock still. And I think I'm probably laughing nervously. I'm just like, I can't believe this girl would show up at my job. Like, this is my place of work. And it's just like so awkward. So she basically ordered a hookah and used that as a way to like come over to talk to me, or summon me over. And then it's funny because my wife is like, yeah, so just giving me more background and like more details. She's like, when I went over there and done with the hookah, she was like, I want to talk to your blonde friend over there, Maya. This bitch used my government name. Everybody calls me Mia or Maria because of how my name is spelled. It's Maya. It's M-A-I-A. She didn't screw up my name. She knew exactly what my name was and flat out said Maya. And I'm just sitting here like, wow. So he told her where I worked and told her my actual name. And she showed up at my job to basically confront me. And so we've walked away. I've gone outside with my wife. We're talking about what's going on. And then as we're getting ready to come back in, she's coming out. She's like, hey, I just want to talk to you again. And she has him on FaceTime. And she's like, so you kissed her, huh? And she and I are just standing there like, oh shit, like this is awkward. And then he's like, no, I've never kissed her. I've walked her to her car, but nothing else has ever happened. She's like, so she's lying to me. She's like, why would this girl lie to me? Like, I believe her. Like, you're a liar. You're this and that, blah, 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 blah. And she's just going off on him. And it's gotten to the point where then she puts the camera on us and we can see him, and I'm like, bro, just don't lie, like just be honest. And then she's like, yeah, like why are you lying? He's like, I've never kissed her. And he's getting so upset, like dramatic. And it's just so dramatic. And then she's like, okay, yeah, we don't need to be here for this. And then our other friend comes out and she's standing there. She's like, is there a problem? Because listen, I cannot fight. I've never been in a fight. And she knows this. And she's like, listen, she can't fight, but I can. And so is there going to be a problem out here? And his girlfriend is just like, no, there's no problem. She's like, I'm just trying to like clear some things up. And she looked nervous. And my friend obviously scared her. So yeah, I think things would have been a little bit different if she hadn't come out. I don't know. But yeah. And so then my wife and I, we all three of us, we go inside. She stays outside, like going off on him on FaceTime in the front. Security's outside. So at this point, like people are trying to figure out what's going on. And then right before she leaves, she comes over to talk to me again, telling me where she works and that I should stop by and have a drink with her. And we're all just standing there like, what? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. And meanwhile, I'm really drunk at this point because I just continued to drink and it's my birthday and I'm stressed. So super awkward, and she leaves with her friends, and then he shows up for his regular shift like an hour later. I guess it was too late to find someone else to take a shift, and so I go outside to get some air with her, with my wife, not the girlfriend. And we're like chatting, and he just kind of like mean mugs me and gives me like the dirtiest look ever. And then we go back inside, and then a different time our other friend went out, he yells to her, "I didn't kiss her," and then like just draws more and more attention. So at this point, I'm sure like all of security and most of my coworkers know what's going on, and they're probably just assuming all of this stuff and this and that. And then apparently he left and called in a different person to take his place. So that's the story of when I got confronted at my job and accused. And I didn't know what was going on. I think in the end she realized like I was telling the truth. Like I did not know. He never said anything. There are no like, because I looked at his Instagram and there's like no evidence of him being in a relationship or having a girlfriend. So without that and the fact that he never said anything. And I actually remember in the beginning I asked him, I was like, "Hey, are you in a relationship?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, those girls over there were talking to you and you told them that you're in a relationship." He's like, "Oh, I just said that so they would go away. Like I didn't want to give them my number or whatever." And I was just like, okay. And that was before he came out and flat out said, "Oh, I do like you." And he was like talking to my friends and this and that and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, he flat out lied, because back then I actually did ask him point blank, was he in one? And he just said no. So, yep. I feel like things could have gone differently. She could have tried to fight me. Who knows? All three of us would have just been in a fight then. And yeah. And I guess he quit because he has not come back. When I came back last weekend, he was not there. There was somebody else in his place. So I think some people side with him and think that I got him fired. I don't think he got fired. I think he just decided not to come back and doesn't want to work at the bar anymore because he's mad, or for whatever reason. It's awkward, or he's embarrassed maybe. But yeah. And he unfollowed all three of us on Instagram. So yeah, that's the drama. That's this week's dating story. So anyone want to comment below if this has happened to them, where they realize that this guy has a girlfriend and gets confronted? I can't be the only one this happens to. I'll feel a lot better if anyone else wants to share. So yep, comment down below, like the video if you like it. You guys can also follow me on Instagram. It's Thatblondehairedgirl, but obviously my name is Maya. So get my government name right. Learn from this story. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.